And what's up, everybody? Welcome to the StormCast, the world's best podcast. We're live on YouTube and Twitter, bringing you the latest and the greatest news, stories, and updates going on around the world. I hope everyone is having a good week so far. Before we get into today's episode, I want to give a quick sound check and make sure we sound good. Make sure the audio quality is where it needs to be. And it sure is, ladies and gentlemen. Alrighty, let's just jump right into it, shall we? If you haven't already checked out the latest episode of the Stormcast, episode 50, we talked all about Trump's State of the Union speech. Give a nice little breakdown of that. We talked all about the uprising of the cartel in Mexico with cartel leader El Mencho recently being killed. We talked all about AI seeing through walls, everything else AI related, and a lot more. So if you haven't checked out that episode, I recommend you do so. So yeah, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot going on around the world. We are in times of war as always, but this one is a little bit more serious because it is World War III. All right, there's multiple countries involved in the conflict that we are currently in, with Iran and other countries involved, right? And whether or not at this point we know China and Russia is, giving support to Iran, we don't really know. I'm sure they are undercover, right? Uh, all wars are funded by elite families, right? There are certain people that control wars. And so this is just something that will go on forever, right? People think it's a big deal. We're in war. Well, we're always in war of something with someone, whether they put it on the news or in the media or not, whether you know about it. War is always being funded. That's how a lot of companies and people make money, right? So let's get right into World War III, right? And what you need to know. All right. So if you are joining the chat, drop a W and let me know how your day is going. And let's just get right into it. World War III is here, folks. And let me share this one instead. So World War III is trending after Iranian leader reportedly has been killed with U.S. strikes. So reports of an Iranian leader reportedly killed in the United States or killed with United States strikes have fueled speculation about escalation, sending shockwaves through financial markets, diplomatic circles, and online discourse. The surge in World War III searches shows growing global anxiety as one regional conflict now has the power to shift markets, alliances, and the world overnight. All right. So whether or not this world war, this world war has been, our conflicts with Iran, has been going on for a lot longer than people know, and the recent escalation with Israel and Iran, obviously we are allies with Israel, without benefit, but we are allies with them. And so they are getting our help, our supplies, our money, our military prowess, power. That we can say that they help us, with AI, They have a lot of spies, a lot of intelligence assets. But as far as military power, we don't really receive much, benefit supplies and things like that from them. So yeah, this has been going on for a while now. And yeah, let's see what's going on. So multiple cities, including Tehran, are under attack by the U.S. and Israel. Qatar Air Base and other areas near Doha were targeted by Iranian missiles. Dubai civilian infrastructures hit by Iranian missiles. Israel alarms sounded after ballistic missiles were launched by Iran. Pakistan continues to bomb targets in Afghanistan. All right, so a lot going on in the Middle East. Not all of it makes the news and the headlines, but a lot going on over there. So traders from Polymarket predict a 32% chance of United States forces entering Iran by the end of March. And this post was actually 4 days ago, so I don't think we've put boots on the grounds yet, but we're definitely bombing them. All right, and we have Navy set up on their coast. So we are in position to, put boots on the ground in Iran to have soldiers, try and take over. And as we know, Iran's terrain is unforgiving. Obviously, I think, it's believed that they have hundreds of cities underground as well. So, making a attack on ground is going to be, war of attrition, right? It's going to be something like Vietnam. You know how we did up in Vietnam. You can say we lost the Vietnam War, really, right? Because nothing was done by entering Vietnam. Just a bunch of death and so no regime change or anything crazy like that. But let's continue on. So here, we have a meme here, the army looking at people's COD stats to see who to recruit for World War III. Yeah, folks, and a lot of people, especially men, right? At age 18, we are, automatically put into selective service, meaning if a war breaks out and they need soldiers, men 18 and up, who are able to vote, can be drafted, so it's not looking good for our young men of America if this war were to continue to drag on, which it's looking like it will for months. Another meme here. We asked for affordable housing and healthcare, and we got World War III instead. Yeah, of course. Well, they don't care. The government doesn't care about the people. It's all about, making certain people rich. Yeah, I mean, Trump, one of his things was no new wars, and obviously he lied, right? He's obviously controlled by asset of Israel. So yeah, there's no point of having belief at this point, right? If you haven't already started to realize that our government is not for the people, it's for a select subset of individuals who profit off of war and other laws put up for the rich, and certain people at the top know how to outmaneuver laws and finesse the laws and the systems that have been put up to control us. Let's continue. 22, another meme here. 2026 is so cooked. Yeah, we have the capture of Venezuelan leader Maduro last month. The assassination of the cartel boss there in Mexico, and here recently the the killing of the Iranian supreme leader. So we're in March now, March 6th, and so who knows what April and the rest of the year has to offer. Most of these are just distractions, right? Like in the news, they recently dropped the Epstein files, and then a couple days later we're in war, right? So it's like they have us all over the place mentally, and this one I believe is obviously a spiritual war. It's between the Jews and Islam, right? Judaism and Islam, and this war has been raging on for forever now, and this spiritual war continues. All right. Basically for dominance and control of the Middle East. That's basically what it comes down to. And Israel has us, by the strings, like as a puppet, fighting their wars. We'll continue on. The sponsor of today's insider victories in the Iran strike markets, trader under the nickname Annoying123, lost $5 million. Wow. So someone lost $5 million on Polymarket making bets of U.S. striking Iran by March 31st. U.S. striking Iran by December 31st, 2026. And will U.S. or Israel strike Iran by June 30th? Okay, so he's bet this Polymarket trader bet $5 million on these bets. Wow. So yeah, it couldn't be me. I can't make these type of bets. But some people out there are willing to do so. And these bets, he definitely might win some of these, right? Because we already have striked Iran. So I mean, he should make this money back. I don't really know how Polymarket betting works, right? You just bet on certain things. It's kind of like sports betting, whether a player will make a certain amount of points or not. But this is just like with random things. Like Polymarket, you can bet basically on if it'll snow in New York on a certain day, like random bets, things like that. You know what I'm saying? So they're saying this guy actually lost $5 million betting on these strikes. So unfortunate for that guy. I'm sure if you're putting up $5 million though for bets like that, you have more money to blow, I assume. So shout out to that guy. We have another meme here. Trump becomes first president to bomb 8 countries in 1 year. So President Trump has bombed Iran, Iraq, Nigeria, Palestine, Somalia, Syria, Venezuela, and Yemen in a year. He's the first president to do so, apparently. So, definitely a warmonger of sorts, right? But we have more to go with that. We have Elgrin in the chat, says W's in the chat. Shout out to Elgrin. Let's continue on here. We have some more World War III. Oh, let's open up. We do it live, folks. We do it live. Okay. This StreamYard is it's tripping a little bit here. Let's scroll down a little bit. Here we go. So, as you see here, the U.S. death toll in Iran rises to 6 And well, this is just for Americans. So 6 U.S. troops have already lost their lives during this World War III that we are in. And Iranian combatants' deaths reached more than 1,000, as Trump says campaign could last 5 weeks. All right, so here's your 6 soldiers that have died already so far, presumably due to bombing, right? So let's read actually. Let's not guess. So the U.S. death toll in Iran rises to 6, and this was only a day ago. So Iranian combatants' deaths reached more than 1,000, as Trump says campaign could last 5 weeks. The U.S. military has confirmed that 6 American service members have died in the ongoing Operation Epic Fury. Right, what a name. Operation Epic Fury against Iran, with the toll rising after Iranian retaliatory strikes, including a deadly drone attack on a U.S. facility in Kuwait. The 6 identified fallen soldiers shown here, all Army Reserve members from the 103rd Sustainment Command. Okay, so here's their names and their ranks. I'm not going to read all of that, but rest in peace to those soldiers. So Chief Foreign Correspondent Trey Yingst cited a senior Israeli official stating that more than 1,000 Iranian combatants have been killed inside Iran since the joint U.S.-Israeli campaign began, based on the latest battle damage assessments. Okay. The Israel Defense Forces, or IDF, has reported no military casualties among its personnel from Iranian strikes, right? Whether or not you can believe those reports, folks, I don't know about, reports from the IDF and whether or not they're, true or not, right? And they wouldn't tell us the exact number, even if there were casualties, right? Also know that they are shadow banning and shadow banning accounts on X right now. If you post any footage of Iran bombing Israel, right? If you show what's actually going on. So just, food for thought there. This is obviously a lot of propaganda going on, from the United States and Israel alike, to the normies, right? To the goy, as the Jews would call you. So President Trump has indicated the military operation is projected to last 4 to 5 weeks, right? I predict that it lasts longer than that, with the flexibility to extend significantly longer if necessary to achieve full objectives. All right, folks. So as we talked about in, recent episode, the Venezuelan, capture, that was very important for U.S. strategically in Israel, right? Because we went in there, we took a bunch of their oil, right, in preparation for the, the strikes that we're gonna have on Iran, because as we know, Iran in the Strait of Hormuz, yeah, they control a lot of oil, right? A lot of oil goes through there, and they supply it to other countries like China and Russia, right? And so with this war, it's going to be a huge hit on, oil prices gouging. And the reason that we're not going to see it immediately, right, is because we went into Venezuela and took so much of their oil, right? So very strategic there by the military. Here we have a video and fair use. All right, so this is from ABC News. Let's see what's going on here.
Members who've been killed in this war. The Army reservists killed in an Iranian attack on Kuwait. Among them, 20-year-old Sergeant Declan Cody. His sister right here tonight describing the moment she heard the doorbell ring. Martha Raddatz also in the region tonight.
Tonight, we are learning more about the first American soldiers who were killed in that Iranian drone strike in Kuwait.
I still don't fully think it's real. I didn't think it was real when they told us.
Sergeant Declan Cody was from Des Moines and just 20 years old. His sister Kira recalling the moment the doorbell rang and she got the news.
I just really wish I got to tell him I love him one more time because he was just so amazing.
He had just been recommended for a promotion from specialist to sergeant. He was promoted posthumously. 39-year-old Sergeant First Class Nicola Moore, a mother of two, was just days away from returning to her family in White Bear Lake, Minnesota.
Learning more about the American service members who have been killed in this war.
That's incredibly sad because, I relate to that a lot. I can sympathize or empathize or however you say it with that girl in that interview right there on the news, that news interview, because my mom, deployed several times as well as my dad, but my mom most recently for the the conflict we had in Afghanistan, she did multiple tours over there, right? And you never know whether or not your loved ones who are deployed overseas, it could be their last day and you get that call, right, that they've been killed or whatever. So very sad stuff right there.
Husband Joey spoke to her just 2 hours before she was killed, telling the AP, "You don't go to Kuwait thinking something's going to happen." 42-year-old Sergeant First Class Noah Teachins, a father to a teenage son, had just 3 months left on his tour. His twin brother Nicholas telling the New York Times he just wanted to get there and get it over with and get back. John Coleman served alongside Teachins.
You could call him day or night. He always took the time. He made you feel important. And that's hard to find sometimes in the military.
Captain Cody Cork's family says the 35-year-old lived with purpose, loved deeply, and served honorably. Childhood friend Chase Smith.
He's just all around good dude. Nobody would have thought in a million years it'd be him.
Late tonight, the Pentagon identified 2 other soldiers killed in that Iranian drone attack in Kuwait. Major Jeffrey R. O'Brien, 45, of Indianola, Iowa, and Chief husband Joey spoke to her just 2 hours before she was killed, telling the AP, "You don't go to Kuwait thinking..."
Killed so far that we know of, right? Obviously with drones, you can be here. With the drone warfare that's going on, you could be here 1 second and gone the next second, right in the blink of an eye. And that's the type of warfare that we are now in. So, God bless their souls. Rest in peace to these brave souls, and thank you for their service. So yeah, let's continue on here with more World War III coverage. So we have here Marine Corps veteran was arrested inside the Senate Armed Services Committee for protecting Israel, or for protesting Israel, rather. Okay, so Marine Corps veteran Brian McGinnis. Okay, so they have his Instagram right here. Was arrested inside the Senate Armed Services Committee for protesting Israel. So let's see what's going on. And this is just proof that people understand what's going on, right? They understand that we are fighting the war of Benjamin Netanyahu and Israel. And we shouldn't be, right? And people realize that now, but there's not much you can do about it, right? They have, they have us in this war already, So let's check it out. And what you can do, I guess, is use your voice like this guy is about to, but use your voice, right? I mean, so Marine Corps veteran attacked by senator. All right, so let's see.
Reason for this war. America does not want to fight this war for Israel. Let's go. Come on, let's go. America does not want to send its sons and daughters to war for Israel. Your inability to name that shows you exempt this as leaders. This is wrong. And nobody wants to fight for Israel. A reminder to all our Commandant, please stand up as a Marine and stand up for America. No one wants to fight for Israel. Israel is the reason
So
for this
I heard
war.
that,
America is-
I mean, insane. They're trying to silence him. And he's doing what he believes is right. I believe he's doing what's right as well. But actually, I heard he broke his hand actually in this altercation.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Why are you getting
Free
arrested?
Palestine, from the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, Palestine will be free.
And what about this war in Iran?
Oh my God.
His arm.
Ah, fuck, my arm is fucking broke.
What are you
gonna do to him?
Oh
My
my
left
God.
arm is broke. I understand. No,
Oh my God. Oh, you guys, come on.
I need you to move.
You need to
okay?
stop.
Okay.
Brian, stop.
He's fighting for you, not for him.
My left arm is broke.
They broke his arm.
Oh my God.
Oh my
They
God.
broke his arm.
They broke it.
Oh man.
Please, can you get him some kind of medical attention?
Yes, we are.
Oh my God.
You are straight.
You let go of my arm before you sit down.
Y'all step back, please. Please move
Can you
back.
get
Keep
him
this
some
walkway
medical
open.
attention?
Who needs
Oh my gosh.
Wow. Okay. So says free Palestine. Dude, knows what's going on. He doesn't, and a lot of Americans out there are kind of in the same belief as this guy, in the same mindset. A lot of Americans don't believe we should be over there fighting this war. And that because Trump's approval numbers are lower than they've ever been, right? People are not backing, and supporting him, because they're realizing that he lied. He lied to us about no new wars. And they're starting to see that he is, compromised and being used as a puppet. So I think Israel has some type of blackmail on him, some type of, photos or videos that Trump doesn't want to get out, involving, the Epstein files, right? And, they said, hey, Trump, listen, if you don't let us use, the United States military and you don't go and fight this war for us, we're going to release all that, right? And we're going to release you doing, terrible things to whoever he was doing it with, whatever he was doing. So, yeah, that's my belief. This person in the comment says, it's past the point of being Israel first. It's obviously Israel only. Israel first. I mean, America first? I don't know. This person says, I hope those two cops know they just humiliated themselves and their families' lives forever now. Wrong side of history. Yeah. Cops are just doing their job there, though. They're just, doing what they're told to do. Okay, so here we have Trump being asked if Israel forced him to launch strikes on Iran. So let's see what he has to say. Let's give it some volume as well.
And to launch some strikes against Iran, did Netanyahu pull the United States into this war?
No, I might have forced their hand. You see, we were having negotiations with these lunatics, and it was my opinion that they were going to attack first. They were going to attack. If we didn't do it, they were going to attack first. I felt strongly about that. And we have great negotiators, great people that do this very successfully and have done it all their lives very successful. And based on the way the negotiation was going, I think they were going to attack first. And I didn't want that to happen. So if anything, I might have forced Israel's hand. But Israel was ready and we were ready. And we've had a very, very powerful impact because virtually everything they have has been knocked out now. Their missile count is going way down. Amazingly, they're hitting countries that were, let's call them neutral, right? They lived together for a long time. I think they were surprised. I was surprised. And now those countries are all fighting against them and fighting strongly against them.
Mr. President, did Israel force your?
So he basically, when asked if Israel forced him to launch the strikes against Iran, he basically says, no, but I think we forced Israel, right? So that's a, clever tactic by him to flip it. But I don't think you can believe anything that this man is saying about this war. Obviously, politicians lie, and he's been proven to be a liar, right? Because Iran never launched any strikes against Israel. Israel has been bombing Gaza and performing a genocide on Israel on Iran for a while now, right? And Iran hasn't bombed them, so it's kind of like a 9/11 situation, right? Where they kind of with the October 7th thing, the Israel allows October 7th to happen so that they have a reason to retaliate, kind of like 9/11, the forced demolition, right? That happened on 9/11. We can use that to go and overseas, and to fool the American public to believe that the war is necessary, when in fact it was a inside job and all orchestrated in order for us to, go to war, and go and take their resources, as well as expand, greater Israel, which is their, what they want to do, right? That's what they want to do, is expand their lands in the Middle East. And so, yeah, be careful when you watch these politicians and the news that you get shown. Dig deeper, right? You can't believe everything that they're telling you, right? So, continuing on here, this is a disinformation war, right? This war is, going to be infiltrated now that we have AI. It's going to be a lot of propaganda videos created to distract, deter, and confuse the public, right? So the fog of war already makes it difficult to get accurate, up-to-date information about what's truly happening on the ground. Add new AI video technology into the mix, and it's harder now than ever to decipher between what's real and what's not. Here are some of the most viral AI-generated US-Israel-Iran war videos that have been bouncing around social media over the last few days. All right, so let's check these clips out. Disclaimer: the following viral videos are AI generated and do not depict real events. All right, so these are all, created to confuse you about what's really going on over there, right? And who's being bombed, where they're being bombed, and so far as that goes, right? So, all right, so this is Israel getting effed up. It says here, a Twitter post. But this is AI generated, right? It looks real. Looks like Tel Aviv getting bombed. So, more. Yeah, they had a video of the Burj Khalifa in Dubai, the tallest building in the world, being hit. So AI generated. Israeli billionaires belong to richest family on earth are currently suffering Iran's latest attacks. All right, AI generated, and these look real, right? Look. like they could definitely confuse you about what's going on over there, right? People running around screaming, you know, cars on fire, bombs going off, you know, it looks like a real war. But these are all AI generated content, right? So second rounds of Chinese assisted Iranian army attacks have also place in Dubai, Kuwait. So these are all like fake accounts on X, just creating videos and posting them out there, getting a bunch of rage bait and you know, interaction, views and whatnot, and being spread around the internet. But these are all fake, right? So if you know the average person didn't look up and actually have a grasp on AI and what's real and what's not, they'd be confused. They would definitely think that, a lot of this stuff is real. Israeli army suffering huge losses in Jerusalem and Gaza amid rising Iranian missiles and drone strikes. All right. So, is there another one here? The last one we have is, okay, so Israel getting bombed. So these are all fake, ladies and gentlemen. So, do your due diligence when looking up information about what's going on, and make sure you're able to fact check it. And so this person in the comments says AI looks very realistic, but at the same time, it's incredibly easy to tell now when something is AI. Yeah, for the most part, but a lot of times you can't. And if you don't have a trained eye, such as someone like myself, I've been watching a bunch of AI generated content here on the podcast, right? But if I wasn't, familiar and I hadn't been looking at a bunch of AI videos before this, I would think these are real, right? This person says, this is the worst AI will ever be. I don't think that's truly clocking to people. Yeah, folks, it's only going to get better, right? It's only getting better. So, what you think is easy to tell now is going to be, incredibly difficult to be able to decipher from reality soon, very soon. Continuing on here, Iran, Israel, and U.S. at war. How is AI being used? All right, so transitioning on to how AI is actually being used in war, right? We've talked in podcasts before about how AI and warfare, can be used. The weapons, being able to see through walls and, robots and things like that. But the U.S. Central Command has reportedly used an Anthropic AI tool during the Iran strikes, according to the Wall Street Journal. The report says the system was used for 3 tasks: intelligent assessments, target identification, and battle simulations. Okay, so in practical terms, that places AI inside the planning loop, helping process incoming intelligence, support target work, and model different strike options before commanders choose a course of action. Alongside the software layer, CENTCOM has also fielded Lucas one-way attack drones, which the command says are designed to operate autonomously and can be launched by multiple methods, including catapult and rocket-assisted takeoff. The result is a clearer picture of how AI is being integrated into modern warfare decision support in the ops room and increasingly autonomous systems in the air. So let's check some out more about how is AI being used. So Anthropic, WSJ reports U.S. Central Command used Anthropic AI tool during the Iran strikes. Okay, we read that. So what this helps with in practice: faster intel summaries, quicker target shortlist, and side-by-side strike plan comparisons before commanders choose an option. All right. So AI job 1, intelligent as okay, so it's gonna break down how basically how all the jobs of AI. So starting with intelligence assessments, the U.S. Central Command used AI to process and summarize incoming information fast. According to multiple sources, an ops cell would have received new intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance updates and intercepted reporting. The AI helps draft a 10-bullet assessment: what changed in the last hour, confidence levels, and what it likely means for opposition air defense posture. Another job of AI during this war is target identification. The United States Central Command utilizes AI to help identify targets for strikes. Sources claim that planners start with a long list of possible military targets like air defense sites, missile facilities, and command centers. The AI groups then groups them by type, then flags which sites have the most recent intel showing they are operating right now. Another job of AI is battle identification. United States Central Command uses AI to simulate battlefield scenarios before actions were even taken. According to sources, commanders compare two ways to run the strikes: option A versus option B. The AI simulates how each option might play out over the next hours, then summarizes the trade-offs so leaders can choose. All right. And we have Lucas kamikaze drones. The U.S. Central Command deployed Lucas one-way attack drones that are designed to operate autonomously. Lucas can be launched by catapult, rocket-assisted takeoff, or mobile ground and vehicle systems, right? So, scary, to be in a war during these times, right? With the drones and AI. Continuing on here, the U.S. deploys more troops as the Middle East conflict spreads. Let's see what's going on. So the U.S. is sending additional. Okay, so let's put some volume to this. Let's see.
My colleague Jake Tapper that the big wave is yet to come. So clearly things are going to be escalating, not de-escalating in the future. Well, told my colleague Jake Tapper that the big wave is yet to come. So clearly things are going to be escalating, not de-escalating.
Okay, so the United States is sending additional forces to the Middle East as the conflict continues to widen. Trump says the big wave is yet to come. All right. We have some memes here. It says, me sipping through a soggy paper straw to save the planet, and world leaders over here just destroying the world. It's not funny, like when you really think about it, but you gotta have, some type of sense of humor, when things are going bad. Even when things are going bad, right? You gotta stay positive and keep a positive outlook on things, right? So can't have everything doom and gloom, have a negative effect on you, right? Because if you read too far into this, right, you can go crazy, right? Realizing that your tax dollars are being sent to fight a war that's not even benefiting you, or the list goes on. It goes on and on, right? So it's important, even during these times, to continue to improve yourself, keep a positive outlook, and continue to get better, even when times are negative. So
that was going to take 4 weeks, we thought, to get rid of.
Okay, so traders don't seem convinced the U.S. will officially declare war on Iran by the end of 2026. Only 8% chance, right? So that's whoever made that bet in December 31st lost some money on poly market.
Of the Iranian leadership.
So it says here, Trump says the operation to take out Iranian leadership was originally expected to take 4 weeks. He added that it's moving faster than planned, and that he's pleased with the timeline.
And it's always, you know, if they hide, it's a lot longer than 4 weeks. And they would have been hiding. We were shocked when we heard what was going on. We knew exactly what was happening and where. 49 leaders. And, you know, they're talking about using people now that nobody ever heard of, even though they don't know. Wow. So from the President of the United States, he is pleased. Does believe that this is going faster than they thought, and he believes that 4 weeks is something that they had put as a kind of calendar of what they were looking at as setting the table for the Iranians to do what they do. That was going to take 4 weeks.
All right, so you know what they're not. It's actually going to take 4 weeks. I don't think so. I think this will be dragged on much longer. All right. Because, you know, killing the leader, you know, it just, you know, it's like chopping off the head or, you know, chopping off the tail of a lizard, right? It's going to grow back, right? What, you know, it's not doing much. You know, they still have a strong government and citizen class, which, you know, probably, doesn't like America too much. And they're going to fight more than likely, to defend their country.
Hey, Joe.
So this says defense contractors right now.
What do you tell me about what you're wearing?
Well, this is Brunello Cucinelli. The shirt I had made from Bud in London. They custom made it out of oil. Really nice and thin, and you sweat and you don't know it. The pants are Moss and Hoffman. The shoes are by the Coach.
All right, this dude is definitely flexing right hard. But yeah, defense contractors are making a lot of money right now, folks. That's why wars are, profitable for a lot of individuals, right? A lot of individuals. Although a lot of people die, they don't care. It's all about the money. It says here, U.S. and Israeli forces have carried out major airstrikes on Tehran and other parts of Iran. So here we have Tehran, I presume.
Turns out
So Pete Hegseth, the guy in charge of the Department of War, once known as the Department of Defense, he says here, it turns out the regime who chanted death to America was gifted death from America. So this guy definitely a warmonger, right? To the 10th degree, right? He, there's a reason that they renamed it from the Department of Defense to the Department of War, right? Obviously, they are, warmongers. They're hungry for, everything involved around war. So let's check out what he says here.
The regime who chanted death to America and death to Israel was gifted death from America and death from Israel. This is not a so-called regime change.
He thought he ate right there, didn't he?
War. But the regime sure did change. And the world is better off for it. Turns out the regime who chanted death to America and death to Israel.
All right. There you have it there. 63% chance Trump will announce the end of military operations against Iran by the end of March. More polymarket information. More memes here. A lot of memes.
If you kill Americans, if you threaten Americans.
All right. So here we have Pete Hegseth, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. That's his position. Warning, if you kill or threaten Americans anywhere on Earth, we will hunt you down. So 4 U.S. service members have already been killed so far in the conflict. So that was before we figured out the other 2 that we already talked about. So more people are dying. So it just goes you to show that these casualties, he's pretty much saying these casualties won't go in vain. We're going to, avenge them by killing your people, right? You kill us, we kill you. So, and it'll just keep going on like that forever. Oh, let's hear what he says.
Americans anywhere on earth, we will hunt you down without apology and without hesitation, and we will kill you. If you kill Americans, if you
So Ayatollah Alireza Arafi, Iran's interim leader, was allegedly killed as well in an airstrike just hours after taking office. Reports remain unconfirmed. Okay, so let's look that up. Let's ask. Has Ayatollah Alireza Arafi died? Let's ask again. Has Ayatollah Alireza Arafi died?
There are currently
Unverified rumors circulating.
Yeah, that's always a tricky one. Unverified rumors can spread super fast.
All right, so unverified, folks. I'm not gonna read too much into it, but apparently this guy, the successor to the supreme leader of Iran, who's been killed, obviously they're saying that this guy has died as well. Whether or not that's true or not, I don't know. Here's a funny meme here from Kim Jong-un in North Korea. This guy having a soldier telling him, "Sir, still no missiles headed our direction." And Kim Jong-un says, "Refresh it again," because he's been patiently waiting to test his missiles out, right, on the world. That's one person we probably don't want to get involved with, right, because they're fanatical and they will die. Whoa, those North Koreans are fanatical. So here we have Israel is conducting large-scale strikes across Iran as part of the widening U.S.-Israeli military campaign. Let's check it out.
What? از اینجا میاد اینجا.
All right. What? I don't know if this is AI or not, folks. This looks real. AI usually looks a lot more crisp and detailed than this. So this is probably real, right? These are real strikes going on in Iran. Hassan Khamenei, the founder's grandson, is now a frontrunner to take power after Khamenei's killing, potentially putting the Islamic Republic back in the family's hands. Right. So like I said, folks, you cut off the tail of the lizard, it grows back, right? And usually a lot of times with more vengeance and with a lot more radical, extremists, because, they're seeing what's going on and realizing that, they're being terrorized and they feel as though they need to defend, come to arms and defend their country, right? And die for the country if need be. So, more meme here with Barron Trump. Yeah, so it says, "Me after a successful weekend of monitoring the situation." All right, the aura of Barron Trump right there. 6'9", apparently tall dude. But yeah, is he gonna go to war? Is Trump gonna send his son? I'm sure he's 18 now. Is he eligible to go to war, folks? I don't know. All right, so that's that. Continuing on with more World War III coverage. Y'all drop a like for me giving y'all the best breakdown here on YouTube of what's going on. Obviously, there's other political commentators you could be watching right now, but you're tuned in here with me. So shout out to everybody in the chat. Continuing on, here we have Iran shares rare view inside underground bunker filled with drone fleet. So the Iranian state media showed off a fleet of drones lined up inside an underground bunker as part of a chilling propaganda video. Footage released by the semi-official Fars news agency shows the unmanned fleet sitting on rocket launchers and on truck beds while dramatic music plays in the background. Swipe to see more pics. All right, so let's check out these pics. All right. So look at this fleet, man. These are all drones just lined up in a bunker of sorts. Very scary stuff. Weapons of war that we're seeing, right? A lot of them. This person in the comment says, we paid for that. Everyone thank Obama. This person says, I have a dumb question. Why would anyone share their arsenal? Yeah, these are probably fake, right? These don't look real. This actually looks like AI. So unless this is definitely maybe propaganda, if not exaggerated pictures. Continuing on. President Donald Trump announced that the U.S. has officially gone to war with Iran. All right, so we're way past this, but let's see. This is him actually announcing that the U.S. has begun major combat operations against Iran, stating that the action is intended to defend the American people by eliminating what he described as an imminent threat from the Iranian regime.
Time ago, the United States military began major combat operations in Iran. Our objective is to defend the American people by eliminating imminent threats from the Iranian regime, a vicious group of very hard, terrible people. Its menacing activities directly endanger the United States, our troops, our bases overseas, and our allies throughout the world. For 47 years, the Iranian regime has chanted death to America and waged an unending campaign of bloodshed and mass murder, targeting the United States, our troops, and the innocent people in many, many countries. A short time ago.
All right, so there you go. Trump announcing the war. That was 6 days ago, right? And yeah, we didn't ask for this as American people, right? Iran, they don't have any threat to us directly, so we shouldn't be involved in this, point blank period, right? We are fighting this war for the greater state of Israel, the Jews, right? This person in the comment says, why are we getting involved in this? This person in the comment says, y'all voted for this, and we didn't, right? Well, I didn't vote at all, right? I did support him versus Kamala, but I didn't vote because I don't think the votes matter, quite honestly. Yeah, the president is definitely appointed before the election even begins, right? But yeah, so people didn't vote for this. He actually campaigned on the fact that he wouldn't start no new war. So a lot of people, if they did vote, voted for that, right? And believed him. And, a lot of people starting to wish that they either didn't vote for him or, draw their support from him. But yeah, I just don't see how you can support him in this current state. Obviously, all politicians and presidents are controlled to some sort, but it's clear that this man is being controlled, right? So in new footage released by the Department of War, an American submarine sunk an Iranian warship with a torpedo missile. Secretary Pete Hegseth stated this was the first sinking of an enemy ship by a torpedo since World War II. So let's check out this U.S. submarine sinking this Iranian warship in the Indian Ocean.
And we'll play it on the screen there. An American submarine sunk an Iranian warship that thought it was safe in international waters. Instead, it was sunk by a torpedo. Quiet death. The first sinking of an enemy ship by a torpedo since World War II. Like in that war, back when we were still the War Department, we are fighting to win. In the Indian Ocean, and we'll play it on the screen there, an American submarine.
All right. So here it is. Here is the footage of the submarine, the Iranian, or the American submarine, rather, sinking the Iranian warship with the torpedo. Wow, that's incredible to watch. I'm sure, watching that in person must have been absolutely insane to watch your torpedo. It looks like it's from the lens of like a submarine, the thing that sticks out of the water when you're in a submarine, the eye, the eyes of the submarine, basically the say telescope of the submarine. So interesting footage here that they have that, captured that. Continuing on here. Iran warns U.S. will no longer be safe. Iranian officials declared that the United States will no longer be safe, delivering a stark warning that sharply escalates tensions between the two countries. The statement offered no details about what actions it referred to. Traders predict a 42% chance the U.S. and Iran will agree to a ceasefire by the end of March. So Iran's Revolutionary Guards warned the U.S. will no longer be safe. On the third day of joint strikes on Tehran, AFP reports, quote, "The enemy should know that their happy days are over and they will no longer be safe anywhere in the world, not even their own homes," right? And all right. So we got some memes here. Iran warns the U.S. will no longer be safe. Yeah, people not too scared, right? People not too afraid. All right. The U.S. consulate in Dubai is burning after being struck by a retaliatory Iranian drone. Okay, so obviously they can reach, Middle Eastern countries like Dubai and other countries surrounding them. It's reported that they've been bombing other countries around them. Whether or not it's actually them bombing the other countries or they're being, used and we're being lied to as propaganda, and whether it's actually, Israel. I heard reports that it could actually be Israel that are bombing these other countries and blaming it on Iran. Right, so you really don't know what to believe and what's going on over there, right? So it's important to continue to research, continue to look deeper into things and not believe everything you read regarding this, because that's how they confuse you and keep you confused, and they control you, and what you think and how you should think and what to believe, right? So let's continue on. So this is that one clip from that admiral or general who made that speech during the Iran war. Let's watch.
They're watching
This is actually known as the coldest speech ever.
Every move. Iran, Russia, China, North Korea, ISIS, Al-Qaeda. They may be watching this right now. Our military should not be mistaken for a cable news gabfest show. We don't care what you look like. We don't care who you voted for, who you worship, what you worship, who you love. It doesn't matter if your dad left you.
you hear the music, the American music in the background. This is pure American propaganda at its best, right? The rock music in the background, and get you pumped up to go fight a war that you don't need to be doing, right? That you shouldn't be.
Millions when he died, or if he knew who your father was. We have been honed into a machine of lethal moving parts that you would be wise to avoid if you know what's good for you. We will not be intimidated. We will not back down. We've seen war. We don't want war. But if you want war with the United States of America, there's one thing I can promise you, so help me God. Someone else will raise your sons and daughters. They're watching.
Okay, so that's Staff Sergeant David Balabia's Hall of Heroes speech, which is a chilling reminder of U.S. military lethality and the unbreakable American spirit, during defining the military as a machine of lethal moving parts, right? Calling out Iran, Russia, and China. And this was, years ago, right? During when we were at war with Iraq, I believe. So let's continue on.
Yeah. Hey, guys. Good afternoon.
So the U.S. consulate in Dubai was evacuated before an Iranian drone strike hit. It marks the second strike on a U.S. consulate or embassy in 24 hours after an earlier attack in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia.
We're following these reports out of Dubai that indicate an Iranian drone hit the U.S. consulate in Dubai. We understand that the building and many of these surrounding buildings had been fully or at least partially evacuated. And again, these are just initial reports coming in. Fox's Jennifer Griffin also confirming that a hit did take place in this area. As we look at this story and the Gulf countries under threat, just in the past 24 hours, this is the second hit on a U.S. consulate or embassy in the Gulf. Remember, overnight in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, 2 Iranian drones hit the compound, but that compound, again, also was evacuated beforehand. Yeah. Hey, guys, good afternoon. We're following these reports.
All right. So we'll continue on here. Another meme of Kim Jong-un. When you have all the toys, but nobody wants to play with you, right? Very smart that we don't get to. They definitely have nuclear weapons, and they're definitely not afraid to use them. All right.
Welcome back to the
So the U.S. Embassy compound in Riyadh was hit by 2 drones, resulting in a limited fire and structural damage.
Special edition of Out Front, war with Iran. And we have more breaking news this hour in this intense night of strikes. A strike on the U.S. Embassy in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, just moments ago by 2 suspected Iranian drones. Obviously, Riyadh in the center of Saudi Arabia, far away from Iran, a lot of open desert there to go past, but that is what's happened. We do not have any reports at this moment yet of any injuries, but it comes as the U.S. Embassy in Riyadh is telling all American citizens in Saudi Arabia to shelter in place immediately. And that alert is going out just right now as I'm speaking, signaling a potential fast-moving threat unfolding right now in Saudi Arabia. Welcome back to the special edition of Out Front, war with Iran.
Poly Market, there's a bet going stating will Iran strike 9 or more countries in March? 78% chance Iran will strike 9 or more countries in March. And the fact that we can just make bets on things like this is kind of sickening if you think about it, right? That we're just betting on if human lives are going to be, blown up by strikes and drones and whatnot. It's kind of crazy what this world has come to.
As I came in,
So here we have Marco Rubio giving an update on the drone attacking targets, or the drone attack targeting the U.S. consulate in Dubai. Okay, So Rubio says our embassies and diplomatic facilities are under direct attack from a terroristic regime, right? Another Israel show here. Marco Rubio, let's see what he has to say.
And I also saw the media reports about Dubai's consulate. The last update I had with seconds before getting before these cameras was that a drone unfortunately struck a parking lot adjacent to the Chancellery building and then set off a fire in that place. All personnel are accounted for. As you're aware, we began drawing down personnel from our diplomatic facilities in advance of this. In the cases, for example, of Beirut, we basically drew down to bare bones. As well as in Baghdad and in Erbil and in a couple other posts as well. So we've been very fortunate, obviously, but our embassies and our diplomatic facilities are under direct attack from a terroristic regime. As I came in, I also saw the media reports about
a lot of memes going around related to this war, saying me and the boys off 5 Zins and 3 Red Bulls speed running Iran because they threatened the US. All right. Here we have other angles from the ground showing the US consulate in Dubai on fire with smoke rising after it was targeted. Here we have the U.S. military carrying out a 1700. Okay, so it says rather, getting ahead of myself. The U.S. military has now carried out a 1700 strikes against Iran since Operation Epic Fury began. Epic Fury, as Trump would say. It's a great epic fury, the most epic of furies. Footage shows U.S. guided tomahawks being fired at Iran. Check it out. Okay, so that's wild to watch, right? They are showing, Tomahawk guided laser, guided missiles being shot from a warship outside of Iran, So, that just shows you what American military power looks like a little bit right there. So Iran has launched attacks on major Gulf cities, including Dubai, while the U.S. and Israel have carried out airstrikes on military and government targets. All right. Whether or not it's Iran launching these attacks on these Gulf cities or it's Israel and U.S. actually, and then blaming it on Iran, in order to create a greater Israel to, destroy the surrounding enemies, you really don't know what to believe, right? But I definitely don't believe the narratives that they're trying to push of Iran and everything that's going on over there and, how they're conducting their military operations. All right, so let's check it out.
جلوتر زده.
Five here. Five under fire there. All right, there you have it. Let's check out these comments. Someone in the comment says, Iran would get wiped off the map if they ever attacked mainland USA. Well, that's a very real possibility, but if If they're able to do so, there will be American casualties. But yeah, that would definitely be just what the U.S. would want in order to completely wipe out, and Israel as well, what the U.S. and Israel would want in order to completely, justification to completely just nuke Iran, right? That would be their justification, right? Is that they're attacking mainly USA, and I think Iran is smart enough not to do that, right? Because they know the retaliation of what our military would do in that scenario. But that's just what Israel would want, though, right? This person says, the fact that you could place a bet on this let me know everything I need to know about the U.S. and the world. I pray everyone stays safe, and may this type of energy not find you, right? Yep. Well put. This person says, I'm supposed to be scared when the leader died on the first day of war. This person says, please, Iran, start with the people in the Epstein files. Yeah, right. It's funny how it all ties in together somehow, right? Continuing, we have breaking news. Iran launches huge missile attack on U.S. base in Bahrain. The blast echoes across the area. So let's just check out the footage first. All right. More footage here. And I hope this isn't AI. I hope I'm not being lied to. But you see just how easy it is to trick people with AI and real videos, right? You wouldn't, if this is AI, I wouldn't know. All right, this looks real. And I think it is real, so. So yeah. Iran launching missiles and drones at U.S. Facilities in the Gulf. So apparently these strikes targeted and connected to the U.S. Navy Fifth Fleet, which is headquartered in Bahrain and plays a key role in U.S. naval operations in the Middle East. Witnesses reported loud explosions and smoke rising in parts of the capital, Manama, following the attacks. Okay. So let's continue on these videos, see what else we have here. Okay, more footage of the strikes. So according to statements from the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, or IRGC, Iran launched multiple missiles and drones toward American military targets in Bahrain, including the Sheikh Issa Air Base. Iranian officials claimed the operation was part of the large-scale retaliation against U.S. and Israeli strikes carried out earlier against Iranian targets. Reports say around 20 drones and several missiles were used in the attack, though the full extent of the damage has not been independently confirmed. Okay, and this was posted, as you see here, 1 day ago, folks. So I will keep you updated with, everything involved with these attacks and everything involved with this war. We have one more actually piece of content to go along with this World War III coverage for today's episode, right? So it says here, Iran launches massive hidden missiles and drones at Israel's Tel Aviv. Shocking visuals to watch. And this was 12 hours ago, right? So they're targeting Tel Aviv, apparently Israel's capital. Explosions light up the skyline, air raid sirens screaming through the streets, buildings shaking, families desperately running for shelter in the dead of night. This is not a movie. This is real life unfolding in real time. Intelligence agencies had no idea these missiles were coming, apparently. Hidden, silent, deadly, Iran played the long game, and tonight they made their move. The Israeli Defense Forces are on high alert, World leaders are being woken up as we speak. Emergency meetings are being called. The entire global order is shifting right now as you scroll. Yeah, the entire new world order is being set into place, right? That's what's happening. So this one might be AI. I think I've seen all right. I'm not really even going to look at all of them, right? Because I don't even want to look at any ones if they are fake. I don't even want to show it. But yeah, folks, there you have it. That is today's coverage of World War III and what you should know and about what's going on over in the Middle East and the war we're fighting in behalf of Israel, folks. So stay woke, stay diligent, continue to do your own research. We're going to move on now to the teacher-student sex epidemic, which is happening around the world, right? So if you go on social media, right, you'll see that, you know, a lot of teachers, you know, and women, older women are being, you know, convicted of sex scandals with students or minors, right? We're seeing it all over. And it seems to be increasingly happening, right? More and more for whatever reason, right? So here we have a article from Fox 12, fair use. And it says here, son says in an interview his mother, a former mayor, had sex with his underage friend. Wow. Okay. So let's see what's going on here.
Granger knows that if you're a school custodian, cleanliness is your top priority.
Right after
That's why you can rely on Granger for a range of cleaning products and equipment.
We're going to mute that because I am not sponsored by them and they're not going to get any free promo on my podcast. All right, so here we have it. Let's enlarge it here and give it some volume. Okay, we can't make it any bigger, but let's give it some volume.
Stunning testimony as the jury in the Misty Roberts trial heard from new witnesses today. Good evening, I'm Cynthia R. Snow. The children of the former DeRidder mayor took the stand today in day 4 of her trial. KPLC's Devin Cruz joins us live from DeRidder. Devin?
Yes, Cynthia, as you said, the former mayor here, Misty Roberts, is on trial for 2 felony charges. And today we had a lot of details and a lot of testimony. We heard from at least 6 witnesses. I'll try and jump right in and give you as much as I can. So starting off the top, jurors saw pictures of the 2024 party in question, including kids holding drinks by the...
Right, and it's the typical suspect, right? The cougar, blonde, you know, MILF-looking type, who, you know, all of her life, she hasn't faced any consequences of her actions. And, you know, she has all the, you know, she thinks she can get away with it, right? She has every reason to believe that she will get away with it, right? Because she's a woman. And, you know, boys and men, right? They want sex, right? Especially from a hot woman such as herself, right? I would say she's attractive, you know. So she thinks she's gonna get away with it, and you know, whether or not, you know, you're a woman or not, you're still liable to get found, you know, to get caught up and told on, and you know, she's under the, you know, she got caught. She's under the eye of the law now, right? So let's watch it. This is the Misty Roberts trial. All right.
Pool and a photograph prosecutors are calling lewd. That picture showed Roberts at the party in her bikini and the teen looking up at her smiling. The majority of their bodies were not visible in that photograph. Text messages were presented by the prosecution between Roberts and her son, including what alcohol the kids wanted for the party and through the evening, as Roberts' son told her what was happening was crazy and that his little sister was crying. Her son also texted Roberts that, quote, he is 17. However, the boy was actually 16 at the time. That younger sibling also took the stand while her interview with investigators played. In it, she said she saw her mother and the young man, quote, on top of each other that night. Robert's nephew admitted to using his phone camera to see what was happening in the room that night. He testified that he's unsure if he hit record, but said if so, it was never sent to anyone, and he since wiped his Snapchat memories. The defense asked her nephew why he cleared his Snapchat before turning it over to investigators, and he says it was because he had photos of him and his friends drinking and was worried he was going to get in trouble. Now, the defense implied in court that an important portion of Robert's son's interview was not transcribed. Attorney Adam Johnson says the interviewer said at one point, quote, just say it once and we can move on, end quote, while the transcription notates that it was unintelligible. Today, Robert's son also agreed that's what was said. There's only so many details I can give you from out here. We'll have a full report online, and also we'll be here tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. as the trial continues into the weekend.
All right, so the trial is still going on. This was published February 28th. Today is the 6th of March. So as this trial goes on, I will, keep you updated here on the StormCast. But what we do know is a former mayor's son shared in an interview last year that he saw his mother having sex with his friend. All right. The interview came to light this week as the trial involving former DeRidder Mayor Misty Roberts is underway. Roberts, 43, is accused of having sex with a teen at a party in 2024 while she was mayor of DeRidder. Her trial has started after numerous delays. The jury heard from her son and other witnesses, including a man who said he delivered Plan B to the former mayor's door after the alleged sexual encounter with an underage boy. Right. So she got Plan B delivered after, meaning did she get nutted? Did the kid not pull out? What's going on here? Is she even able to still have kids? A lot of questions. Defense and prosecution questioned two forensic interviewers who had interviewed children connected to the case. One of them interviewed 3 children, including the alleged victim, in July and August 2024, and the other had interviewed Robert's children in March 2025 at the request of the district attorney's office. The jury also heard from a DoorDash driver who said he delivered an emergency contraceptive to Robert's house. Well, she DoorDashed the Plan B. Wow, how resourceful of her. Prosecutors said Thursday that the alleged victim's mother texted Roberts to ask whether Roberts was pregnant, and Roberts replied that she was on birth control. Roberts shared a screenshot of the text in a group chat with her friends, suggesting she would also take Plan B, prosecutors said. The delivery driver testified that he accepted a request from Misty C to buy Plan B and leave it at Robert's front door. He said he knew it was Robert's house because he had brought his kids trick-or-treating there before. The driver said he heard rumors of Robert's alleged crimes in the following days and believed that he had delivered the contraceptive. Jurors saw pictures of the 2024 party in question, including children holding drinks by the pool and a photograph that prosecutors called lewd. Well, I'll tell you what, her house must be the spot, right? You know, the parties must be wild. The Diddy parties that she throws must be, insane, for lack of better words. That picture reportedly shows Roberts at the party in her bikini with the teen looking up at her, smiling with most of their bodies not visible in the photograph. Okay. All right. So both of Robert's children also took the stand this week. The prosecution called her son up first and began to review the video of his interview with a child advocacy center back in 2025. In that video, he claimed he saw his mother having sex with his friend through a crack in a window. Text messages between Roberts and her son also were presented by the prosecution, including what alcohol the children wanted for the party. Robert's daughter took the stand while her interview with investigators played. In it, she said she saw her mother and the young man, quote, on top of each other that night. The former mayor's nephew admitted to using his phone's camera to see what was happening in the room that night. He testified that he was unsure if he hit record, but said if so, he never sent to anyone and since wiped his Snapchat memories. The defense asked her nephew why he cleared his Snapchat. We heard all about this in the interview. He said basically he thought he would get in trouble for drinking. The defense implied in court that an important portion of the interview with Robert's son was not transcribed. Defense attorney Adam Johnson said the interview at one point, quote, just say it won't. Okay, so let's start that over. I'm getting ahead of myself. Defense attorney Adam Johnson said the interviewer at one point said, quote, just say it once and we can move on, while the transcription notates that the comment was unintelligible. None of the three witnesses who testified claimed to see any private parts of Roberts and the alleged underage boy. Roberts' trial continues over the weekend. All right. So I will, when I get more information on this trial and what the verdict is, I will report it to you, viewers of the StormCast. All right. So continuing on with the teacher. Oh, so that wasn't even really a teacher. That was the mayor, right? A grown mayor and a young boy. But we have been seeing an epidemic of teachers having sex with their students, right? So that's why I called this news article the teacher-student sex epidemic. But we do have here an elementary teacher, aide, sentenced to over 50 years in prison for raping 4 boys, 12, 13, 14, and 16. And, where was I when teachers were having sex with their students, right? I used to there was a couple of teachers back in the day where I would, want to put hands on hips, right? So here we have Anna Marie Crocker, a 34-year-old mother of 4 and former teacher's aide at Riverview Elementary School in Silver Lake, Wisconsin, was sentenced to 51 and a half years in prison, followed by 32 years of extended supervision. Prosecutors described how she manipulated 4 young boys aged 12, 13, 14, and up to 16 across multiple incidences, such as forcing acts during a sleepover at her home and in other locations. All right. All right. So let's see what we have here. All right. So it looks like we have the school aide, Anna Marie Crocker, here on trial. As we know, she's been sentenced already for 51 and a half years. Wow. So she'll be in there, pretty much the rest of her life. So yeah, that's sucks for that. But another case of you do the crime, you do the time, and she never thought probably that these boys would snitch on her or go and tell. But it came out somehow. It wouldn't have been me though. If this would ever happen to me, I definitely think I would have kept my mouth shut and me and that teacher would have been good. But but apparently these are rapes, right? These are forced incidents of sex, right? Not consensual. So, and these boys are underage, right? So it's illegal either way. All right, so let's check out the trial.
Investigators detailed her sex crimes against 4 young boys during Tuesday's sentencing. One, a 12-year-old she forced to have sex with her. Another, a 14-year-old she lured out of his home to sexually assault.
She couldn't help herself. She was juggling all of these boys at the same time.
A court's order prohibited the recording of the victims and their families, but one mother told the judge, quote, "This person destroyed my son's psyche and loving and caring spirit." That family moving out of state as a result of Crocker's actions. Crocker, a mother of 4 herself, pleading for a lighter sentence.
I'm asking for mercy and compassion, even though I understand the seriousness.
The judge ultimately handing down 51 and a half years of.
You know what they say, never believe a woman's tears in person, right? If she's crying in front of you, never believe her. Only tears that are in private are real, right? So, you know, now she wants to beg for mercy. You know, it's too late for all that. And it's too late. You've already done the deed. And if it was done to me, right, at that age, it probably would have never got out. Right, but let's see what else.
Years of incarceration.
She sought out children, she used children, and she took advantage of children.
Crocker showing little emotion as she now heads to prison for the next half century.
Your lives.
And
ooh, 51 years, boy, that is that is not good. Let's check out these comments here. Someone says 16 in military school, he got to be special ed. This person says, how is 16-year-old nigga in elementary? The fuck? Someone said, who snitched, right? And that's what I was saying. But you know, it's not right though. It's not right. She's a grown woman. These are underage kids. You know, if it was a man who had done this, then you would definitely see them as a monster, right? So no mercy on this woman, in my opinion. This person says, where were the teachers? Where were these teachers when I was growing up? Yeah, so. All right, folks. Well, we are already at the 1 hour, 37 minute mark. I'll do one more topic for today. I'll just do a topic and then we'll close out the episode, right? So shout out to everyone in the live chat. We got 9 people watching right now across YouTube and Twitter. Shout out to y'all. And yeah, what we have here is our first and only topic after our news pieces for today. We've got the most powerful militaries in the world. So these are the most powerful militaries in the world, 2026, right? So speaking of World War III, let's explore the most powerful militaries in the world in 2026, ranked by strength, technology, manpower, and global influence shaping today's security landscape. The United States leads with an billion dollar defense budget. $895 billion defense budget. Insane. 11 nuclear powered aircraft carriers, 750 global bases. You know what? We'll go page for page actually. So first up, we have the United States, the undisputed global leader with an unmatched $895 billion defense budget. It operates 11 nuclear powered aircraft carriers, maintains over 750 global bases, and fields the most advanced air force in the world. Next, we have Russia. Despite ongoing conflicts, Russia retains the #2 spot due to its massive ground forces, deep artillery reserves, and the largest tank fleet in the world. Yeah, I believe it's either Russia, India, or China that has the largest like reserve military, you know, like actual boots on the ground, you know, soldiers that they're able to put on the ground. Next, we have China. China commands the world's largest standing army with over 2 million active personnel. Okay, so it's China with the largest standing army with over 2 million active personnel. Its rapid modernization includes heavy investments in hypersonic weapons, artificial intelligence, and massive naval expansion. All right, China. Next, we have India, ranked 4th. India relies on its massive manpower pool of over 1.45 million active troops. Its ranking is boosted by a growing indigenous defense sector and heavy investments in weapons through the Make in India initiative. Make in India, okay? Shout out to my Indians, Next, we have South Korea. South Korea facing constant regional threats from its northern neighbors, of course, North Korea. South Korea fields one of the most technologically advanced militaries in Asia. Its heavy firepower relies on cutting-edge systems like the K2 Black Panther tanks and a massive reserve force of 3.8 million personnel. Okay, so South Korea on the list here. I believe South Korea, as well as Israel, I know, but you have to, there's a mandatory military, service, right? And I think there's other countries that do that, but I know for sure those two. Next on our list is France. France, rising to 6th place in 2026. France maintains a fully independent military industrial complex. It is a highly versatile force. Is it versatile or versatile? Versatile? Either way, it is a highly versatile force relying on modern Rafale jets, global intervention capacity, and a nuclear-powered aircraft carrier. All right, so France. Next on our list is Japan. Japan also moving up the list this year. Japan's self-defense forces prioritize high-end technology, anti-submarine warfare, and maritime security. They are backed by advanced Aegis equipped destroyers and F-35A jets. All right, Japan. All right. And I believe for a while after World War II, after we nuked them in Nagasaki and Hiroshima, I believe they vowed not to, have a military or do that. But apparently they are, now, back again, one of the most powerful militaries in the world. Next on our list is the UK, or United Kingdom, slipping to 8th in 2026. The UK still maintains significant global reach with a technologically sophisticated force. The military operates 2 modern aircraft carriers and maintains a strategic nuclear deterrence via its submarine fleet. All right. So the UK makes our list. Next. Okay, so that is it. That is the most powerful militaries in the world. Special mentions are Iran, Israel, France, and those are just some that I can think of off the top of my head. Germany, I believe, also has nuclear capabilities. So yeah, that is the most powerful militaries in the world, as well as our topics for today and our news for today, folks. So that is our episode. As always, the StormCast is everywhere you find podcasts. So subscribe on YouTube, drop a 5-star review on Spotify, and follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Rumble. Your support on Patreon also keeps us going strong. All links are down in the description. Shout out to everyone in the live chat right now. We have 8 people watching. So shout out to everybody tuning in and watching the live replay. If you made it to this point, shout out to you. We have episodes dropping. We're going live every Friday, folks. We've been consistent all 2026. We're going to be going live for the StormCast, as well as dropping content on the YouTube channel, Stormy and Friends. All right, so hit those post notifications, bells, because content all year, folks, and you want to be updated when we do go live and drop videos. All right. So if you want to continue to support the podcast in a way other than watching, you can go to the Patreon down in the description and support that way. Join for, it's like $4.99 a month, and you get behind the scenes content. I do live streams on there that I don't do on YouTube or on Twitter, and as well as you can request merch, other content as well. So yeah, go on that Patreon, folks, and support that way if you feel inclined to, of course. And let me know down below in the comments what you thought of today's episode, any questions you have, what you thought of today's topics, were they good or bad, happy or sad, how they make you feel, what did you find the most interesting, what do you want me to speak more on in future episodes. All right. And with that being said, I want to leave you with some quotes of the day, as I always do. Keep you going, keep you inspired and motivated going into the weekend, right? So first quote I want to share with you is from Aristotle, and it goes, knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. Okay, so knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. And basically what this means is that real intelligence doesn't start with learning about the world. It starts with learning about yourself. Most people spend their lives studying other people, trends, opinions, and information, but they never take the time to understand their own mind. When you truly know yourself, you know your strengths, your weaknesses, your triggers, your values, and what actually drives you. Once you understand that, you start making better decisions in every area of your life. So wisdom begins the moment you stop looking outward and start looking inward. The next quote I want to share with you is from Lao Tzu. I believe he's a Chinese philosopher. And it goes, he who controls others may be powerful, but he who has mastered himself is mightier still. And basically what this quote means is that self-discipline and inner power. So this is basically about self-discipline and inner power, right? So it's easy to think power means controlling other people, right? Being the boss, the leader, the one giving orders. But the real test of strength is controlling yourself. Can you control your anger, your impulses, your laziness, your fears? Anyone can try to dominate others, right? But mastering your own emotions, habits, and reactions is much harder. And when a person can truly control themselves, they become unstoppable. All right. Self-control. And the last quote I'm going to leave you with for today's episode is from Carl Jung. Okay. I believe he's also a Chinese philosopher. And the quote goes, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. And this quote is about becoming your authentic self, right? A lot of people go through life playing roles that society gives them, trying to be what others expect instead of who they really are. What Jung is saying here is that the real purpose of life is discovering your true nature and having the courage to live as that person. Not a mask, not a character, but the real version of you. And so what these three quotes have in common is that they form a powerful path of personal evolution. Aristotle said, wisdom begins when you truly know yourself, your mind, your strengths, your flaws, and what drives you. Once you have that awareness, Lao Tzu takes it further by saying the real power in life isn't controlling others, it's mastering yourself, your emotions, impulses, and discipline. And when you combine self-knowledge and self-mastery, you arrive at what Carl Jung describes as life's greatest privilege, becoming the person you were truly meant to be. In other words, the journey of a strong life is simple but deep. Know yourself, master yourself, and then become your true self. And with that, folks, I appreciate everyone who joined in today's episode. I love you so much. Stay beautiful, stay blessed. I'll see you in the next episode next week. Enjoy your day. Bye, everybody.